Welcome watch fans, it's Al Walker here from Northern Watch Co magazine, and welcome to the first of an occasional series called Walking with Watches. And what I'm going to do in this series really is talk about watches and also take a look at some of the towns and places in the northwest of England where I've lived. And we're going to start with Horwich, which is near Bolton in what used to be Lancashire, now Greater Manchester, and was a fantastic railway boom town and a textile town a long time ago at the start of the Industrial Revolution. So we're going to take a look at a Victorian pocket watch, which actually owned by my great-grandfather back in the 1890s. And we're going to take a wander around historic Horwich as well. So I hope you enjoy it. Thanks a lot. It's actually a super hot day for a change, so got my hat on. We're going to set off down towards Anderton. Behind me is Lever Park, and that road leads up to Rivington, where you've got the little barn and the Great Barn. Fantastic bikers hang out on a sunny Sunday as well. So right now we're just going to track past the War Memorial, and then we're going to head down the road just slightly to the boundary of Horwich, where it joins Anderton. And there's some lovely old water workers cottages that were built when they built the reservoirs to supply Bolton and Manchester and everywhere else with water in the 19th century, as the population of all the towns boomed tremendously thanks to the Industrial Revolution, railways, all the people who came from Ireland and elsewhere to build the canals and the railways. So easy going at first downhill. Back up the hill, we're going to go past what they used to call the Irish end of Horwich a long time ago, past the Crown Pub and the Catholic Church. We'll also see the old tram terminus that connected Horwich to Bolton a long time ago. And a long time ago, in the 1880s actually, the local press reported how Irish workers would fight with the Lancashire-based workers because it was rumoured that they were paid a halfpenny an hour less than workers from the local area. So you can see why they get a bit upset about that. I'll sign up for now and keep walking. Catch you later. Just to the left on the way down actually is what used to be a horse racing course a long time ago, and I think the last races then were held sometime in the 1840s, started in the 1830s. So under Chorley New Road there are probably still some old tram tracks. This is the tram terminus. It's now ASL Motor Factors, who by the way can get you almost any part for any car. The stuff that they don't know about cars is not worth knowing, they're brilliant. But the large bricked area there, that's where the trams went in and out. And as you can see, still got the signage on, waiting room on the left. I just found some shade, so while we're in the shade, I'm just going to talk briefly about why the Industrial Revolution in England first and other countries, it's all tied to the pocket watch. So it's tied to all watches and clocks ultimately. So briefly, in the 17th century you start to get the very first handmade artisan pocket watches. They're for aristocrats, maybe a wealthy doctor, whatever. 18th century, the era of Breguet, invention of the balance wheel, tourbillon and everything. It's still a luxury item. You know, Breguet's working for Marie Antoinette. You know, he's not working for Marie from the corner shop. So when you get to the Industrial Revolution, what you have are tools and processes to make everything that the aristocracy had available, even if it's in a homage form to the working class, to the better off working class. So you have the invention of electroplating of silver in the 1830s. You have Waltham in America from the 1860s onwards, making their own machine tools, not just outsourcing each part of the watch process, the enameling of the dial, the making of the gear train, all the silver chasing and everything, but actually bringing it all together in a factory, and mainly employing women and children with small hands to assemble all these parts in the very first production lines. And that's what made this pocket watch affordable for my great-grandfather. Yes, it's sterling silver, and it's quite a big one actually, of its type, made in Lancaster, probably in the 1880s. About the same time that the Lancashire Pocket Watch Company in Prescott got going to try and stake their claim and fight off Denison and Waltham and the Americans who dominated the sort of mass pocket watch market at the time. So even a luxury item like this, for Sunday best to wear on your waistcoat with your suit, even that was within reach for the very first time for someone like my great-grandfather, who I believe worked in slate quarries, iron mines in Cumbria, and then later went into farming, which was no easy life back then. In fact, my father told me he had to sell himself at a hiring fair in the late 19th century in order to obtain work. So that's how the Industrial Revolution made pottery, plates, watches, newspapers and magazines. It made everything affordable through mass production. One of my favourite parts of Horwich is the small village known as the clubhouses. These were built for the employees of Ridgeway's bleach works at Wallsuches. Basically it worked like a very early mortgage scheme, so a few shillings or whatever a week or a month was deducted from your wages and you joined the club, and eventually a house was built. They also built a post office and a school. I think there's shops and a couple of pubs in there as well. The whole thing went on from about 1801 to around 1830, 1840. An amazing place. So I'm right at the top of the hill on the old road to Bolton, near Wallsuches, which is really where the story of Horwich starts in the late 18th century, when the Ridgeway family found that their bleach works in Bolton had burned down. So they needed somewhere with lots of water, and they could put water wheels there for motive power. And they eventually built reservoirs, and they built workers' cottages, and they built the clubhouses, which we saw earlier. The very first houses really that I know of where you could sort of buy it on a mortgage from your employer. So you just paid whatever it was, so many shillings a week, and you bought the house, you didn't rent the house. Some of them had basements, so you could kind of sublet the basement and run a small business from there as well, quite handy. So it's been a super hot walk today, and if you do it on a hot day or any other day, you can stop off here at Curly's at the top, which I'll just take you into the car park just quickly. It's a really nice place. Had a snack here a couple of years ago before the lockdown mania, Great Reset and all that happened. And so, yeah, just have a quick look. There it is. In the background, there's Curly's. As you can see, it's fantastic. It must have been to do with the bleach works a long time ago. And you can also see one of the first reservoirs that they built. So like everything to do with the Industrial Revolution, it was about doing things at scale. And so if you had lots and lots of water, you employed people to do one thing at a time. You used modern inventions, chemistry at the time. The chlorine was used to bleach. Other dyes were developed to dye cloth a lot quicker, a lot cheaper. Then that's how they made their money. That's how they could afford to build a school and a post office and the clubhouses and put Horwich on the map. And if you just keep heading down this pathway, it goes into like a rough track and then you're back into Horwich. So thanks very much for watching this very first Walking with Watches episode. I hope to see you again. Bye for now.